In this video, we'll be hunting a box of nickels. We'll be looking for anything from before 1960, including Silver War nickels, buffaloes, or anything older, as well as looking for any foreigns, proofs, heirs, or varieties, or any other interesting things we can find. Do just have one box now, but might add a second box onto this video depending on how this first box does. And I have checked for enders. We do have one ender for the box, although it's just in 1957 right there, but hopefully it's a good sign for the hunt. Anyways, let's start the hunt on the first nickel box of the video, and I'll bring you in on the first find. Roll 6, and we have our first find of the box, which is just a 50s nickel, 1957 out of Philly. And I also bring you in because in that roll we had my first two coins from 2023. Both 2023 Denvers, haven't gone to any other denominations yet. Just something cool to see. Mid-February, finally got my first 2023s. Anyways, let's get back to the hunt. Roll 12, we have a couple more finds from the 50s. Bit of a slow start to the box, but hopefully we can pick up. We can get a couple things that are a little bit older. We have a 1954 out of Denver, as well as a 1958. That's also from Denver. Roll 14, we have our first find from the 40s, and it is 1946 from Philly. Roll 17 had two finds from the 40s, so the 40s are definitely picking up a little bit. We have 1940 out of Philly, as well as 1941. It's also from Philly. Just open roll 20. We're going to have a couple of finds in this roll. First, I noticed we have the first foreign right there, probably Canadian, as well as another older Jefferson. I'll pull out since you have it here. Saw the date already. It's another one from 1940, this time out of San Francisco. Now I'll pull out the Canadian, the first foreign of the box. Looks like it might be an older one. Let's see. And it is. It's a 1970, which is a pure nickel Canadian. It's in pretty nice shape as well, so it's a pretty cool Canadian to find, as well as another one from the 40s. Roll 21, and I think we're going to have a Silver War nickel. I was about to take the coins out of the wrapper, and then I realized that this coin right here is slightly different from the rest. I think it may be a silver, and it is. We have a San Francisco mint mark on the reverse above the Monticello, and it is a 1943 S35% Silver War nickel. Barely just caught it by the edge, but we do have a silver in the box. This box is getting off to a great start. Still on the same roll, and I haven't even started hunting it yet. We already pulled that silver out. We're also going to have another foreign in this roll. This one's going to be a Swiss coin, 1962, a little bit of an older one. This is a 20 wrapping. Have found many of these before, mostly newer ones. This one's a little bit older. Either way, still another super cool find. Roll 28, we have a couple more finds from the 50s. We have 1954 from Denver, as well as a 1955. That's also from Denver. Roll 31, once again we have a couple of 50s nickels. They both have the Ring of Death, but they are 1955 out of Denver, and that 1957 that was our ender, it's out of Philly. Roll 32 gave us a couple more finds, including our new oldest nickel of the hunt. Our first one from the 30s is just a common 1939 out of Philly, not the double die, but still great to see a nickel from the 30s. And also we got another one from the 50s, just another 1958 Denver. Roll 34, and the finds are definitely picking up, although right now we just have a couple more from the late 50s, a 1958 and a 1959, both Denvers. Just opened roll 38 and flattened out the roll. One away from being an ender in the back. We're going to have another Canadian nickel and a few coins in front of it. Another one from the 40s, which I'll pull out first. That's a 1941 from Philly. And this Canadian is the second Canadian and third foreign for the box. And it is a 1985. A couple rolls later, we're going to have another Canadian nickel in this roll. Saw this beaded border right here. It's definitely going to be another Canadian. Canadian number 3 is a 1988. Roll 46, approaching the end of the first box, and I already pulled out a 1954 to Denver. I saw this reverse, thought it looked a little bit older. No mint mark on the right, and I flipped it over. That's a 1950, definitely a date you don't see too often in nickels. The 50D is the rarest one, and the 1950 Philly, which we have here, is a semi-key date. So it's the first better date nickel of the hunt, and we'll definitely take that. Next roll, another 40s found, and this one is another 1946 from Philly. Just opened the last roll of the box, and it isn't a find, but I noticed the roll was slightly taller than the other ones, and I guess that's why. It's like we just have some random trash in the roll or something. Yeah, it's just some cardboard circle. Haven't seen that before. Kind of interesting. Let's get back to the hunt. Maybe we'll have something in this roll. Then I'll be back with a wrap-up for the box. First nickel box has been hunted, so let's go over the finds for that box. I'm going to add a second box, even though it was a pretty good box. Did get 2 more 50s nickels in that last roll. 1953 San Francisco, as well as another 1954 Denver. Do have a pretty good amount of finds on the board. Again, a pretty good box. A lot from the 50s, including a semi-key date, 1950 Philly, year I don't see very often at all. Cool to see that. A little bit in the 40s, not too many, and then 130s and 1939 from Philly. Got that interesting cardboard circle in the last roll, just some random trash in the roll, kind of cool to see. Also, the best find of the box was that 1943 S silver war nickel. Definitely great for silver in the box. Definitely means it was a good box. 4 foreigns as well. That Swiss 20 wrapping from 1962, as well as 3 Canadians, including 1 pure nickel one. 1 2009, a 2009P, which 2009Ps I barely get any of, so it's cool to see. And my first 2023, I probably got about 10 throughout the whole box, so cool to see those. So it's a pretty good first box. Again, still going to add a second box on this video to make it a little longer. So I'll be back when I have a second box to add to the hunt. I am back with the second nickel box for the video. And there are no enders that I can see. So let's just get right into the box. Hopefully you can get some good finds. And I'll bring you in on the first find of nickel box number 2. Roll 5. And our first find of the second box was a nickel from the 40s. 1949, minted in Philly. Roll 8, we have another find from the 40s, still yet to get a 50s for the box, but this time we have 1941 from Philly. Roll 20, box number 2 is getting off to kind of a slow start, but hopefully you get a good find to make up for it. We have 2 more finds to show, another 40s, 1947 out of Philly, as well as the first 50s of the box, 1954 from Denver. Roll 26, we have another find from the 40s, this time the Olds Nickel box number 2, 1940 from Denver. Roll 35, box has still been slow, we do have a couple more finds though. We have another 1940 out of Denver again, as well as a damaged and cleaned 1959, that's also Denver. Just opened roll 41. We have the first foreign of the second box. Did get 4 foreigns in box number 1. This is the first one of this box. 3 coins in. We do have a Canadian nickel with a bunch of gram on it, but it is 1984. Just opened roll 48, and as you see in this box, has been super slow. Only probably about 5 or so from the 40s and only 2 from the 50s. Very, very slow box. But I just opened this roll, and this definitely makes up for it. Right there, we have a Buffalo nickel. Out of nowhere, this box has had nothing good up until now. Super excited to see that. We now have a war nickel and a Buffalo for the 2 boxes. No mint mark on the back, out of Philly. Just going to be a common one. And we do have a date. It's 1927 out of Philly. Glad I didn't have to nicodate it. Been getting a lot of slick dateless Buffaloes lately. But we have one with a date. That is super cool to see right at the end of the hunt. Let's go. Last 2 rolls of the box could give us a few finds from the 50s. We have 1952 from San Francisco, 1954, that's actually also from San Francisco, and 1957 out of Philly. So those last 2 rolls are definitely better than a lot of the rest of the box, especially with that Buffalo. So now let's go on to the wrap-up. Both nickel boxes have been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We ended up with 5 foreigns, 4 of them being Canadian, including 1 older pure nickel 1970, which was definitely cool to find, as well as the other foreign being a 1962 20 wrapping from Switzerland. Always cool to find those. Did get 2 2009s as well, including 1 decently nice Philadelphia. Don't see Philadelphia 2009s very much at all. Cool to find that. Also did get that random cardboard circle in one of the rolls. Not a find at all, but definitely weird to see in there. Now for older Jeffersons, we did pretty good. Did get 1 from the 30s, just a common 1939 out of Philly. Decent amount overall, though the second box was a little bit slow. We did get a semi-key date, 1950 Philly, which is definitely a year you barely ever see, so definitely cool to find that. Now for the two main finds of the hunt, we did get a buffalo and a silver. Always great to get both of those. The buffalo was a dated 1927 out of Philly. Good to see a dated buffalo nickel, not one that you don't have to use Nicodate on, although it's just common Philadelphia. Cool to see. And it's always great to get silver in the hunt, this time with the 1943 San Francisco 35% silver war nickel. Always great to get a buffalo and a silver in a 2-box hunt. And overall, this was definitely a great 2-box nickel hunt.